Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa. Today is July 19th, 2026. This is episode 82. This is a conservative-leaning podcast. I'm a Republican, conservative, a Federalist. Not an independent, but a Federalist. If it makes sense, I'm going to go with it. If it doesn't make sense, I'm going to let you know why it doesn't make sense. And that goes for a Republican agenda and, of course, a Democratic agenda. And now we're dealing with the Socialist Communists, which I'm never going to agree with their agenda. Not because what they're saying is, bad. Oh, everyone should have food. Everyone should have a roof over their head. Yeah, that's fine. You could say it. How are you going to make it happen? You're going to take away things from people that work. That's how you're going to do it. So today, I'm going to be speaking about the DNC Democrats crashing and burning. Last week was a bad week for them, and I apologize for not being on since, I think, the 14th. Just things going on. I just couldn't do it. I'm going to try to get a couple of shows out. They're going to be recorded shows. They're going to go out during the week, this coming week. I will be doing a Monday show and a Wednesday show. I don't think I'm going to be doing a Tuesday show this week, just because I won't have the time. And then for about a week, I will be having shows that I've done already and putting them up that I think are still current today, the information. So, all right, so the DNC is in free fall, and it's their big tent idea of bringing in the progressives, the socialist communists, into their fold. Huge mistake. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I will repeat that going in. It's not only affecting where they're getting their moderate Democrats pushed off the ticket, and then having these progressives go out there against a conservative Republican. And I'm going to tell you right now, Democrats, you're not going to take the House. You are not taking the House. You forget about the Senate. I mean, you got now, for the first time, John Fetterman saying he will leave the party. And you're going to have a bunch of moderates behind Fetterman going, we're not going to leave the party, but you know what? We can't go down the road with you leftists. We're not doing it. So the free fall of the DNC, and that is direct lack of leadership from Schumer. And in the House, of course, it's Jeffries, who should never have been put into that position to begin with. A lightweight and really not a bright guy. And we all know why he's there. Schumer, smart guy, he decided to go to the left. And he thought he was going to get all the support. Dress up like you guys did in your Muslim thing and pray on a prayer rug like you did and do all that nonsense and social justice riots and everything else. Yeah, keep going that route. Keep going that route. How'd that do for you in 2024, you knuckleheads? Absolute knuckleheads. So the DNC is in their free fall. They think they're going to, you have these guys up there going, we're going to take it, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And sorry, fellas, the numbers aren't there. The reality is you're pushing your moderates out the door. and into the arms of the Republicans. You don't think so? You come to me after the November election, and we'll go over that. And of course, we know what the Democrats are already going to be starting in August and September. It's the white male. It's the white male's fault that we're losing. What can they go to? Honestly, what can they go to? You've had no real agenda other than illegals and releasing criminals onto the street. That has been your talking points. You refuse to discuss the fraud going on in California and Minnesota and Illinois and New Jersey and New York. You refuse to take ownership of that. You just want to pretend it's not there. You know, you don't want to discuss that right now. You don't want to discuss the scandals inside your own party. We're not here to discuss that right now. Well, when are you going to discuss it? The American voters are really, you've energized the young and the stupid. But it's the workers that are working and saying, oh, look, you're going to raise my taxes again, and I'm not going to get anything out of it. I think you guys have a real problem selling your agenda. In Wisconsin, in what should have been a tight governor race between the Wisconsin Lieutenant Governor Sarah Rodriguez she should have been able to at least make that a fight. Well, she has bowed out because seems to be her campaign funds are missing and weren't what they said they were. And she can't place advertising, and she has lost credibility. This is the Lieutenant Governor of Wisconsin. To the point that someone, David Crowley, who was bumped out of the primaries, is now stepping back in and saying, I'm back. I'm back, baby. I'm back. Because Rodriguez's departure then catapults socialist candidate Francesca Hahn, who was a relatively unknown and did a good job of campaigning and using Bernie Sanders and the Democratic socialists to propel her. She's not going to win. David Crowley's not going to win. The election starts, in a month. It's all but certain that there'll be a Republican governor in Wisconsin because the DNC, looking at their overall playbook, once again failed. And they're saying, well, she's surging. Well, she's surging in a certain category, but as far as surging against the Republican, not so much. And, Tom Tiffany is going to be the governor. And you're going to see Trump come in there and start doing what Trump does. You saw in the primaries how much power that Trump had. And you have all these, Trump can't get any, here, no one's listening to Trump, but he's gone, and yet, look what he's done. Look what he has done. I think it's a major problem. Democrats, you have a major problem. Let's look at more of the socialists, right? Plattner. Socialist-backed Maine candidate, of course, is all but history. Taking along about $25 million spent by the DNC at the request of the communists. Bernie Sanders, AOC, Elizabeth Warren, in their effort to flip the state from Susan Collins, a Republican, and make that, take that seat. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Now, former state President former Maine state Senate president that's in their state Senate, Troy Jackson, has built an overwhelming advantage in a short and unusual contest to replace Graham Plattner and take on Republican Senator Susan Collins. Now, this guy was a huge proponent of Plattner. This guy, he's our guy. And yet, when he was approached about, hey, we're getting a lot of talk on things, we don't care about that. We don't care about that. We want change. And he's the guy that can do it. That's coming back at you, Troy. That's coming back at you. You're not flipping Maine. Not happening. You've had a lot of socialist Democrats running around, the DSA, which is, Democratic Socialists of America. Running for offices that have gotten on, bumped out Democrats, and now the socialist Democrats are now running against Republicans. You honestly think? I mean, there are areas where they will win. That they will win. But really, in the sense, they're not accomplishing anything other than getting into the Congress and fracturing their own party when it comes to votes. And a Democrat being replaced by anyone other than a Republican is still a Democrat. It's still the opposition. So it really doesn't matter because they'll never get the control. So they split their party. And it's why the Republicans aren't up in arms over this. This is a win-win for the Republicans because the Democrats that were there are either going to lose those seats to a socialist communist, or a Republican is then going to take that seat. Now the majority starts increasing for them, for the Republicans. Now, you have a lot of Democratic Socialist candidates for the House in 2026. And like I said, there's like 6 big ones, but I'll tell you, some are, you know, Malat Kiros in Colorado. They're running a good campaign. Endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America, Denver, and nationally and by Bernie Sanders. And she had challenged and won the right to be on the ticket, and that's in the Colorado's 1st district. And so that's a good chance. And she took on a 15-term incumbent who was a Democrat, and knocked her off the ticket. Clara Valdez, New York's 7th district. Now, the 7th district is funny. It's called the Commie Corridor. Really, that's what it's called, the Commie Corridor. And she's running for New York's 7th district seat. And it's a good chance she'll take that, but that's, again, another Democrat. So they're taking it from a Democrat to whatever. It splits the party. Chevalier, New York 13th district, and in Pennsylvania, Chris Rabb's Pennsylvania's 3rd district, Florida's 23rd district, Oliver Larkin, and Brittany, Quebec, Rhode Island's House district. She's already there, part of the broader socialist political movement, and she's running for the seats. Now, these are socialists. These are the communists. I say they're communists. Make no bones about it. Call them whatever you want. And then of course you have, you have your AOC out of New York, out of the 14th district, Tlaib out of Michigan. She could be in trouble next term. Genesee Lewis George, mayor of Washington, D.C., she's a socialist. And Raman, candidate for Los Angeles, she was another one that came out of nowhere, and all these absentee ballots showed up. Right? The Democrats, and I say Democrats, the socialist Democrats will say, well, we're part of it. They need a net gain of just 3 seats to flip the House of Representatives. But to secure a majority, not going to happen. They're not even going to flip it, folks. Just so you know. They're not flipping it. Democrats must flip already Republican-held seats and, of course, pumping funds into those races. But after the Democratic primaries tossed moderate Democrats on for hard left-leaning House candidates, the chances of those Democratic voters who have split the own party, all that is needed is a 3% sway. Either they're not going to show up to vote, or they're going to vote Republican. And they lose. The Democrats, the Republicans hold those seats, and these people are cast off to the side. President Trump, again, has shown what his support of candidates during the Republican primaries could do. As for Democrats, Sanders, AOC, Warren's push for the socialists have made the split in the big open tent even wider. Why would you invite your opponents in? How stupid is the Democratic leadership? I can't understand it. I can't understand it. Now, toss-up seats in New York State that are really, there's only a handful of toss-up seats, but it's a handful. And remember, like I said, you just need 3 to break the split, but you need a lot more to have the majority. New York 17th District, Lower Hudson Valley, held by incumbent Mike Lawler, is one of only a handful of GOP-held districts nationwide that was carried by the Democratic presidential ticket in 2024 following a highly contested Democratic primary. Army veteran Kate Conley is challenging Lawler for the seat. And while New York 17 is the only true toss-up, other New York races remain highly competitive and being closely watched. Suffolk County, held by Republican Nicholas LaLauda, you're not losing it. Nassau County, again, held by Democratic Laura Gillen, who flipped this seat in 2024, is up, and I don't think she has a chance of losing that. And then New York District 19, Democratic Josh Riley, who recently shifted into a safer, lean likely Democratic territory. The chances of him losing that seat, it's there. It could happen. But he went to more neutral territory and got away from some of the progressives. New Jersey, Thomas Keene, and Rebecca Bennett, a Democrat, is running against her, and these are toss-ups. Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania 7th District. This highly volatile swing state is open to a toss-up. Ryan McKenzie, who flipped the seat in 2024, is running to retain the district. Now, he has a very good chance of winning just on the fact that Pennsylvania is going red, and going red hard. So, 8th District, Pennsylvania, Republican freshman is facing a strong challenge from Paige Cognetti in this traditional working-class blue area. I would say that this one is a toss-up, but will go red. They'll hold it. And the Pennsylvania 10th District, the region is a perennial battleground. While leaning towards the Republican. Like I said, you only have a few of these that are truly, truly game changers. And they're all looking to go red with the exception of one. And it's already blue, so it doesn't matter. Maine's 2nd congressional district, following the retirement of Jared Golden, the race for this district has moved from a toss-up to leaning likely Republican, with former Governor Paul LePage as the Republican winner. And that looks very definite that that's going to happen. And 4 Democratic-held U.S. House seats are classified as pure toss-ups. So those are Democrats that are in trouble. Jared Moskowitz of Florida, Marcy Kaptur, Ohio, Vincent Gonzalez of Texas, Maria Glutzenkamp Perez in Washington State. And these are looking like Florida going red, Ohio going red, and Texas going red with these. And I think Washington, Maria Glutzenkamp Perez will keep her seat. And that is the problem for the Democrats. They keep telling their people, no, we're going to win, we're going to win. I understand, you don't go in there and go, yeah, we're going to lose. But they're not giving the true picture of what's going on. And with redistricting and, you're not taking the House back, you're not taking the Senate back. And it's not going to be close. And if you thought the tears of November 2024 are going to be, on CNN and MSN and MS Now, wait. Get those crying towels out early, folks, because you're going to need it. You could see it already, how the Democratic Party is falling apart even before the race starts. This is my Popeye spinach can. For you, those that even remember who Popeye was, they do sell a Popeye spinach for oldsters like us that go, ick, 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 ick. Spinach. I love me spinach. So you'll have that. Just not a sponsor. Wish they were. So the Democrats, you are going to have to explain when you lose. You're going to have to get out there and really say how you lost it. Because 2028, you think you're going to win. And you got nothing. Now, you can go after Trump and the federal government. You could make reasons why you need a strong Senate, or we need to take the House of Representatives. We need to do this to stop a president. The president has won 80% of his challenges to the Supreme Court. And it's not because you have all one party or whatever. You have seen where they've gone against the administration. So you can't use that. They're biased. They're biased. If they were biased, he would have got 100%. And they would have found a reason why. But they didn't. The president is not expanding the powers of the executive branch. He's defining them. Huge difference. Huge, huge difference. And he has given that power to all future presidents, where people can't challenge that president when he makes a decision like that, because he has the power. The Democrats, are saying, well, the president shouldn't have those powers. Well, then when you get in there, take those powers away. Make laws to stop that. Good luck with that. Because we know that that's not going to happen. You're not going to castrate yourselves. Your moderate and conservative Democrats are going to go, whoa, whoa, fellas, we're not doing that. Sure, go ahead, make the proposal. It'll die on the vine, but go ahead. But we're not doing that. And that's what will happen. And we know that. Bob in New York, you know that that's the truth. And there's plenty you can try to push out. You know, well, Trump is doing this. Well, that's Trump. Who's ever going to run against Trump, who's ever going to run against this administration? That's all I'm going to say. They can say all that stuff, but it's not going to affect the Senate. It's not going to affect the House of Representatives. So what's your plan, Democrats? Trump orange? Trump has funny hair? Trump fat? Baby Trump? Where are you going with it? How are you going to pull back those Democrats that have now looking, going, yeah, I don't want that socialist in there. I don't want that. That person has ideas that go against the core values of this country. I just can't see, you know, you're winding up these young people who vote, and a lot of it's all done through, we want ballots to go out to everyone, and then all of a sudden those ballots show back up and no one got them, and, you know, we have now seen that the courts are telling the United States Postal Authority that right now, whatever order Trump has out there, you gotta stick to. And part of the reasoning is that the courts have to look who has been hurt by this, right? Who's this hurting? It hasn't happened yet. My personal belief is that under the Constitution, states get to control the voting procedures. And if they want mail-in ballots to everyone, requested or not, they can do it. You should have state legislators in there going, we're going to put it under our Constitution that you have to, apply and, what the steps are. But if you don't have that, then the state can do what they want to do. That's the Constitution. So I've said it before on my show, I'm not that fond of the federal government getting into how our election process is done in each state is handled, that it must adhere to, a federal standard. That's not what the Constitution says. It's not what it says. So, being a Federalist, can't agree with that. Can't agree with that. It's that simple. But I do think there's a lot of people that want voting to be correct and voting, and only people that can vote. And I certainly see the need for that in coming up into the electronic age that we're in, where things could be manipulated. It's going to take a lot more eyeballs. And not just human eyeballs, but scanners, which, does your eye scan? Yes. So does a scanner. So does an optical reader, because that's what these are. There's quicker ways, more efficient ways. But again, a computer program doesn't have a conscience. A computer program can be programmed to an agenda and do it efficiently. So I understand where the worry is with this, and there are clear worries on both the right and the left. There's clear worries, and ones that should be addressed. So I think you need cooler heads to sit there and sit in a room for 3 days, like I said, give him, put on a sports jacket and underwear and put him in a freezer. And when you can come out with a plan, we'll let you out. If not, in 45 minutes, we'll take your frozen corpses out and put 7 more in there. And that's the way it really needs to be done. Elections have always been an issue. Always been. And now, there are ways to make it so you could have an outcome immediately. But you'll always have those people out there that say that it was rigged, it was fixed, it was something, and how do you fix that unless you have 3 absolutely honest people from this party and 3 absolute people from this party that are both together singing Kumbaya, we're looking at this and there's no problem. Try to get 3 people from the opposite party to be Kumbaya. So, but we do have to address it. And we do have to do the best job we can do in protecting the integrity of our elections. And you have, Trump the other day came out, and I wasn't even going to go on the air with, his China collecting information and doing this. A lot of that information, folks, is already out there. And if you don't think the British, the Indian, Europe, France, Spain, doesn't look at our election data to formulate, how do we deal with the United States economically? And, because this guy is going to be thinking this way, this guy thinks that way, we agree with that guy and stuff. And that's what, that's the reality of our election system. When we deal with Russia, we deal with people who have the inner ear of Putin or Chai in China or whoever we're dealing with. You must have those people. You must know who they are so you could deal with them. And China, no different in gathering that data. I'm not worried about that. More worried about who they're giving money to through shell companies, and we know that goes on. Soros. let's get to Iran. A lot of talk. I've been doing 40 minutes of this. I'm going to spend 5 minutes on Iran. The attack this week against our soldiers, we know we're at war. This is going to happen. I'm not callous about it. I'm not saying, oh, well, or anything like that. But Brother Don and I have both agreed that on the Iranian side, we are dealing with Iranian Trumps who are just as hardline for the Iranians as is Trump for America. Now, there's only two ways to deal with that. One is surrender. Someone has to give. Or you got to kill them. Now, Iran has been plotting to kill the president. We know that. As well as Iran has had their leaders assassinated by America and Israel. And they know it. That is a tough game to play because that game is for keeps with only one winner. And I mean, Iran should realize that they're in the bad end of that stick. They're way at the end of that stick. And they need a save face situation to come out of this? I don't think there's any left. I honestly do not think there's a save face for Iran. And I think that the only way you can get people in there is by changing the makeup of those people. And the only way that happens is by boots on the ground. We can, as a step, take over Karg Island without destroying it and stop their ability to export the oil. Don't touch their oil fields. Don't blow them up. They just sit there, out there in the desert. They can't do anything because there's no place to put the oil. And you strangle them. But the only way you're taking Karg Island is by putting 10, 12, 15,000 American troops there. And Karg Island is pretty well defended, even today. That will not be a cakewalk. We could take it over. And we can go from one end to the other island fighting. And in the end, we would have destroyed the infrastructure. So why not just destroy the infrastructure? Get it done with. Send over, 15 B-52s fully loaded. And start from one end of the island to the other end of the island. And end it. And go, well, cash register's gone. Tomorrow, we go for your piggy bank, the oil fields. And then when your people are starving, we're going to arm them. And we're going to show them the Kurds. We're going to bring them in. And it will be brother against brother. that's the reality of what's going to have to happen. Iran was a problem. Iran will continue to be a problem until they're no longer a problem anymore. How big of a problem is Libya today? Right? That should be the prime example. We don't need Iranian oil. We could supply every country that needed Iranian oil with oil from Venezuela. Right? We don't. It was nice for China to have a direct line right over to them and get all their oil. And Iran is giving them oil for half the price for their support. And India. And Russia can always supply oil. Hate to see Russia make money on the deal at our cost, but you do get rid of Iran. Pay me now or pay me later. That's the way that's going to work. All right. With that, I'm going to say thank you. It's been 46 minutes of doing this. Again, I apologize for not having some shows out here, but I just couldn't. After Wednesday, probably for a week, I'll be having program shows going up at 12 noon every day. Those will be either some quick little 15-minute shows that I've done in the can during the week and going out, or some shows that I have done before that are relevant enough to go back out again. So please give to a charity if you can. They need a lot of help. Just make sure you're helping a charity that is a real charity. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. That's all I'm saying. Give to a food bank. Local food banks need a lot of help, and they do help a lot of people. And you could feel good doing it. And a lot of, I realize food prices are high, and, everyone's trying to put food on their table. But when you see a special where you buy one, get one free, and you were going to buy one anyway, give that free one away. Everyone, as a public service announcement, mostly if you're at Walmart, weigh your meat. Walmart has been consistently shown on YouTube to be not forthright in their weighing, and not off a little, off pounds. And if there's no scales available, ask one of the associates where there is a scale that you could weigh this and make sure it's accurate. Now, you could always do that on the checkout line and go, boom, and they'll just scan it and go, no, I want that weighed. And if it's, you could be off a little because when you package things evaporate, things condense a little bit. And weight may vary a little bit, but not 2 pounds on a $12 per pound item. All right? And that's what has been happening. So check it. Please say a prayer. Prayer does work, no matter what a Democrat might tell you. And with that, I'm going to say thank you as I fade to black, and this show will come out later today on my video, and not my playlist, but on my video. All right, everyone. Thank you. Be well, and I will catch you later as I fade to